Hello and welcome to Read Becca. I'm sliding in this last week or so of spring with the Spring Has Sprung tag because Dylvi Reads tagged me. So I will link Dylvi Reads down below. And the original tag, I believe, was by the naughty librarian. So we're going to speed round this one, really. I've got all my books picked out. So we can get through this and squeak right in before the end of spring. So first up, we've got flowers. All the flowers we remember are blooming again. Pick a book that's a fresh take on a retelling. So I have got Spindle's End by Robin McKinley, and this is a Briar Rose retelling. So I did just see that Leah Cooper read this for the Women Write Classic SFF readathon and just finished it up. So I will link her take on this down below. Second, we have Cadbury Mini Egg. Obviously the superior springtime candy of choice. Pick a book that you consider to be a sweet treat. And I have got the Tea Dragon Society. I absolutely love this series. I love Katie O'Neill's artwork. It's so adorable. And the Tea Dragons, I just want to have one. So I love this. I've read all the available books, and Oni Press, who publishes this, actually just recently had a Kickstarter to make some Tea Dragon plushies, and I may have backed it at the highest level. So I've got a bunch of Tea Dragon plushies coming, and I think a blanket and stickers, and I even added on some puzzles of Tea Dragons. So I will definitely do a haul and show that off whenever it comes. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I just adore this series. It's so sweet. Number 3, Allergies. Seasonal allergies often make your eyes water. Pick a book that made you cry. This one is very easy. We've got The Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. So this is the very final Discworld book, I think book 41 in the series, and the last of the Tiffany Aching sub-series. I have loved all of the books in Discworld that I have read, but I read through the entire Tiffany Aching series in December a couple of years ago, and it's a 5-book series. Reads pretty quickly, but it's a very emotional series, and this particular book is the last book published before Terry passed away. And it has emotional undertones about death particularly, and I found it immensely emotional. Number 4, Spring Cleaning, out with the old and in with the new. Pick a book to unhaul. So I've got I always have kind of an unhaul pile. They're not books I didn't like, but they're just books that I don't want to keep around because they're not new favorites. I have August 9 Fog by Catherine Scanlon, and I didn't love this. I felt a little weird about reading it. So this is a very slim little volume. The author actually found diaries, or a diary, at an estate sale and then edited it into this. So it's kind of weird and feels a little uncomfortable to be reading somebody's private diaries. There's not anything like super personal in it. They have entries about basically the weather and what was going on in her life, and they're very slim, as I showed. There's hardly anything on the page, so it's very much experimental, I would say. It feels like getting a snapshot of this kind of rural small town life to a very, very small degree. So it's not anything I'm going to read again. It's a very pretty little cloth-bound hardback, but I just don't have any reason to hang on to it. Number 5, Spring Break. It's the perfect time for adventure. Pick a book involving a road trip. So I have got one of my favorite road trip novels, American Gods, by one of my favorite authors, Neil Gaiman. This is very much Midwestern set, and it's kind of urban or contemporary fantasy, depending on your definition. It's set all through the Midwest, but starting northern Midwest, and then follows a road trip to the southern Midwest. And it's really Americana feeling, which is kind of rural highways. So it definitely is a very good road trip novel. Number 6, mating season. It's that time of year in the animal kingdom to make some babies. Pick a book with some smutty delights. And I don't really keep around a lot of romance, but I do have one. This is Peter Darling by Austen Chant. And this is actually a Peter Pan and Hook romance retelling. And it is not too, not super duper spicy, but it's definitely a romance. And this one is great because it has a trans author and a trans man, Peter Pan. I love that I have this, and why I have it in print is because this has gone out of print a couple of times. So I think it's out of print actually again at this point. So I'm very glad to have this on my shelves because it's one I have really enjoyed. And the next one that we have is number 7, Rainbows. I just feel like spring is made of freaking rainbows. And pick a book featuring an LGBTQ+ character. So we're going to go with what I'm reading currently, and that is Hench by Natalie Zena Walschaerts. It's super queer. So the protagonist is either bi or pan. There is a side character who uses they, them pronouns. There's a trans character. So we definitely have lots of LGBT+ representation in here. Spring Awakening. This is one of my all-time favorite musicals, even though it's filled with completely dysfunctional characters. I'm not familiar with that musical. Pick a book that is also filled with completely dysfunctional characters, and I picked out the most dysfunctional, The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I think how dysfunctional the characters are in this is a very divisive topic. People either love or hate them because they're so dysfunctional. The protagonist is very broody and depressed constantly, and in this world where they have magic, these are young people who sort of realize that even after all they thought they would gain if magic were real, they don't, and they're still just as messed up as they always were. So I love it for that element, but not everybody gets along with them. So the last one that I have here is In Like a Lion and Out Like a Lamb. Pick a book series that didn't get better as it progressed. And I couldn't figure out a good solution for this one because I generally don't read series or continue on with series that are not getting better or not at least staying the same. So I thought about kind of tricking the prompt by going for a series that was just consistently really strong. But I think I have one idea that I've mentioned before, and that is the Chronicles of Narnia. So the final book is definitely one of the weakest books in the series. I would say it's the second worst in my opinion. So we're going to say Chronicles of Narnia is one that does not progressively get better. So the last prompt is to tag some people, but I'm not going to tag anybody because spring is over. So if you want to squeak this in the last week, go for it. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.